All right, it's draft time. You know who I like, but who does ESPN.com like? Who does CBS like? Who does The Ringer like? So each day, we'll try to do this every day. We will pick an outlet and see what their mock drafts are looking at. And then when we get new mock drafts, we will do that as well and use that as a way to check out the prospects. You know I'm grinding film either way, but we have someone today, and I will let Chris take it away.
Yeah, let's get into this first round mock draft. This is via ESPN. It is Jonathan Gavoni and Jeremy Wu, and they have come together to create this mock draft over on ESPN Plus. And let's get it started with the first pick. Atlanta goes Alexander Sarr. That seems to be the consensus around most mock drafts. I don't know how that'll end up shaking out. It seems like he's just the best overall talent.
Love him.
Available. Number 2 will be Zachary Risasher. Haven't quite gotten to the pronunciation guide yet, but he has been somebody who has jumped a lot around boards. I saw he had a big game this weekend in the French playoffs, so definitely seems like he's a name that is going to rise.
What's going on
boards.
in France? I said this to you before.
Not
the
sure.
Show.
Alex Sarr, number 1.
What is happening?
Obviously, last year you got Gobert in the conference finals.
Look,
it's this Project Mbappe. It's changed people.
This is
man.
crazy.
It's nuts. It is crazy. So yeah, apparently France has up next. So yeah, first 2 picks will be of French descent according to ESPN.com's mock draft. And number 3, the Houston Rockets go Reed Sheppard out of Kentucky. We talked a lot about Reed Sheppard last week. He just tied the record for the biggest vertical leap in combine history. Is obviously a really big shooter. Don't know how much of a fit that makes in Houston.
I don't get it.
Yeah, they signed Fred VanVleet to a massive contract last offseason. Still have Jalen Green. I guess I saw some Jalen Green potential trade rumors. So not sure what that's about. Reed Sheppard obviously can come off the bench and be a really electric scorer for them. Rob Dillingham, number 4 to the San Antonio Spurs. I really like that pick for Wemby. That would be really exciting for him. At number 5, the Pacers go Matthias Buzelis out of the G League Ignite. I think the Pistons really just need to swing for the fences and take the highest potential guy there because we know what situation the Pistons are in. And the fact that they had the best odds and still end up 5th, you're not doing yourself any favors. You might as well go for the high ceiling. Number 6 is our guy Donovan Clingan going to the Charlotte Hornets. Number 7, we have Nikola Topic going to the Portland Trail Blazers. That would be an interesting one, especially considering that they have Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons. I'm not sure how much. We'll see. I think this draft is going to be a real test of taking best player available versus taking actual need.
Right.
And I think that might also tell us what people think of the draft, that they might just say, look, like we do kind of need a forward here, but the gap from this guard to the next best forward is so big. I guess we'll just take best player available over fit. At number 8, ESPN.com has the Spurs taking Dalton Knecht, your guy, the electric scorer out of Tennessee. Again, pairing him with Rob Dillingham and Wemby over in San Antonio. At number 9, the Memphis Grizzlies will take Stephon Castle. Interesting note here, Stephon Castle, who was the point guard, shooting guard for UConn this year. I saw over the weekend, Stephon Castle telling people, or allegedly is letting the top teams know, not interested in a team that already has a primary guard.
Right.
And we were just talking about how pretty much everybody has a primary guard. Obviously, Memphis especially has a primary guard in Ja Morant and a really good 2-guard in Desmond Bane, who I wouldn't suspect is going anywhere anytime soon. So Stephon Castle goes number 9 to Memphis. Number 10, this is where you might see some people that you want the Kings to take start falling off the board. Utah going with Ron Holland, who is starting to project more as a guard than a forward. Brendan has compared him to RJ Barrett. I think that's a fair comparison in terms of size and skill set. Number 11, Isaiah Collier going to Chicago. And this is where things start to get real tight. The pick before the Kings. This is the guy I want. OKC reuniting the Williams brothers together, going with Cody Williams out of Colorado, the long shooting guard, small forward. especially after we saw his combine measurements listed at 6'6", I believe, without shoes. And then here it is with the 13th pick. Couldn't have done it better myself. 13th pick in the 2024 NBA draft. ESPN.com has the Sacramento Kings selecting Jacoby Walter, guard, listed at guard small forward, out of Baylor, 19 years old. The write-up is the Kings could look to bolster their wing depth with key reserve Malik Monk entering free agency through either the draft or other means. A movement shooter such as Walter, who can run off screens and bring high-level intensity defensively, makes plenty of sense. He also has plenty of upside to grow at just 19 years old. The player profile for Jacoby Walter, he averaged 14.5 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 1.5 assists, shot 37.6% from the field, 34% from three. He was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year, made all Big 12 third team. He was the Big 12 All Freshman team. He is 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan. His offensive scouting report is he has raw ability to stick shooters from distance, 75 made threes as a freshman, and will get them up in different ways. He's a threat spotting up off screens and simply moving to open spaces along the perimeter as a dribble drive valve. Defensively, he plays with good intensity and is a willing defender. He has tools. He has all the tools of a prototype 3-and-D player, has enough length and functional athleticism to match up fine on the perimeter, particularly on the wing, can be a factor in the passing lanes and chip in as a help defender, 1.1 steals in his freshman year, and is a willing rebounder on the wing, again, 4.5 rebounds per game, a competitive, energetic player who gives his all on the floor.
Let's
Jacoby
go, Sacramento.
Walter, number 13. And just to round it out here in the lottery, again, the maybe some of the players that you feel like the Kings should have taken, they ended up skipping on. Allen's guy goes at number 14 to the Portland Trailblazers. Tejan Selon goes to the Portland Trailblazers at number 14. And number 15 is the man who probably is the most polarizing figure of this draft. Zach Edey goes number 15 to the Miami Heat as what I'm sure people would sell as Jaime Jaquez 2.0.
That's right.
In Zach Edey. So very, very interesting. That is the first mock draft we have been through, and really the first one that I've done pick by pick and looked at pretty heavily. And it's really interesting that all the people that I would think the Kings would have any sort of interest in are right around the group that they're picking in. So I don't know if that's good, if that's bad. It's good in the sense that, okay, there's probably going to be somebody there, but bad in the sense of it seems like a lot of the teams surrounding them have similar needs, especially, OKC, if they're going to take a guy like Cody Williams, it's going to really upset me. But is going to be an interesting draft season, as I still feel like the Kings are going to opt to trade that pick. But, as I get more and more into the film of these guys, I feel like I'm going to fall in love with some of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already there with anybody that I watch. My first thought when I saw this, and I said this during the tease before the break, was that I wasn't thrilled. Now that it sounds they're really trying to sell us on this wing thing, and he does have that wingspan. So maybe I'm a little bit, he's right there. We said the limit was 6'5", so he's literally at 6'5". I don't know what he is without shoes on. But, Chris, some of the comparisons that we've seen, you read off, Malik Monk was one of them. I'm seeing this one as well, Reggie Bullock. I saw that as a comparison as well.
Yeah.
Kind of a 3-and-D, but they're
Solid.
Also saying that he can create a little bit for himself.
Sure. Wouldn't mind that.
I don't mind it. I don't know that I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Again,
it's not a knocking it out of the park.
Is this a pick because you think, and maybe this is what ESPN's going with, Malik Monk is leaving? Right, so this is a pick that makes sense there. I guess I can see that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I see him as a guard mainly. I don't really see him as a forward. I think the offensive scoring potential definitely does excite me, but I think if you're going to take Reggie Bullock at 13, I don't know. I think
downdraft.
It's a downdraft for sure, and I think if you can get any player who is contributing as a role player, I think that's a major boost for this team. Absolutely. I mean, they had no infusion of real youth until Keon entered the rotation last year. I definitely think this team could use just a little bit of spark, a little bit of athleticism, Things that, I'm always going to point to Christian Brown as the example that they're looking for in this kind of guy. I think Jacoby Walter could be that, but it is going to be a matter of kind of like I was saying too, how much teams even really I know Jason Ross is like a very stern. It's probably like the thing he's most adamant about is just, I'm not drafting for fit. Fit does not matter because you're going to draft for fit and you're going to end up taking somebody who might fit in theory, but when they can't play in the NBA, well, then it's no longer a fit because they can't play. And you probably should have just taken the guy who even, we'll use Zach Edey, for example. If you're going to take we'll just say Jacoby Walter at 13 and he's a bust. Wouldn't you have rather have just taken Zach Edey, who, let's say in this other universe, Zach Edey is a role player who maybe scratches. He's a Jonas Valanciunas is what his career becomes. Wouldn't you have rather have had Jonas Valanciunas than just somebody who didn't contribute at all? So I understand that, but I just think that at the end of the day, I think there's enough forwards there to where I would feel good about taking one of the other forwards instead of going with best player available.
Yeah, and it really depends on, I guess, the feeling of who can contribute and at what point you'll be able to contribute. 530 is saying, would Edey contribute next year on the Kings?
Probably. He better. Yeah. If he's gonna, yeah, I would think if he's gonna get, whatever team he's gonna go to this year, he's got to contribute soon. Like he is a 3-4 year player in college. Mm-hmm. I think there's already going to be questions about whether or not he can play or not. If he doesn't show something in his first season, I don't know how long of a project people are gonna have him be. Even maybe like you could maybe view a guy like Neemias Queta maybe as an example of maybe I'm giving him not enough benefit of the doubt. They gave Queta a couple years to kind of grow into his body, figure things out. Even now, I don't think he's quite there, but people in Boston seem to really like the direction that Neemias Queta has taken his career. I don't know. I feel like Edey's got to kind of I feel like with Edey, you're going to know pretty quickly whether or not it's going to make sense or not. I don't have a good gauge on it. I still haven't really done my due diligence when it comes to the full Zach Edey deep dive, but just off the surface level, I am starting to feel better about Edey as a pro. Maybe it's just because I watched Jokic play and I'm like, maybe you can be big and still have impact, but I just don't see the superstar potential with Edey.
Coming up next, we continue the draft talk and who do you want on